All right. Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Had so many technical difficulties to start off today. Had some trouble with the camera, had some issues with the mic. One of my ports in my laptop just stopped working. I also got a new phone, and my alarm didn't go off until, well, it didn't go off. I set alarms for 7 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. instead of 7 and 7:30 a.m. So that's why we're a bit late today. But you know what? That's all right. We're still going to have a great show. We have a packed show. We have so much to get into. I've got it all written out in front of me. I'm also going to put on, I believe the Dubai Open is on right now. So I'm going to put that on in the background and give some updates as we are live. I think Amanda Anisimova is playing right now. I'm not positive. So we're going to put that on. What's up, Nate? How we doing? Getting the stream going a little late, but you know what? Technical difficulties happen. Today we're going to be going over the Qatar Open because there was some craziness going on with Yannick Sinner as well as Carlos Alcaraz. We're going to be covering the Rio Open very quickly, even though I haven't watched a ton of it. We've got the Delray Beach Open. We've got the WTA Dubai Open, which is about to start. Jessica Pegula versus Anisimova, I believe. We're going to be going over the Champions League matches. We're going to be going over Arsenal and how they may have bottled the league already at Wolves. Then we have the preview for this weekend's Premier League. What's up, Molly? How we doing? And yeah, let's get right into it. Right into the action. So yesterday was the Qatar Open quarterfinals, and I didn't get to watch the Rublev match versus Tsitsipas or Arthur Fils, which is pretty unfortunate because I thought Fields was going to win, and he did win against Lehechka. Lehechka actually, I think, went to the semifinals last year of the Qatar Open, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Rublev defeated Tsitsipas in straight sets, 6-3, 7-6. He's into the semifinals. Arthur Fils defeated Lehechka 6-3, 6-3. Arthur is in to the semifinals. Arthur. And then we moved on to Carlos Alcaraz. And Carlos Alcaraz was taking on Karen Khachanov. Incredible backhand Khachanov has. And I thought this match was going to be entertaining and close. I did not expect this. Nate's in Florida looking at my mustache. Yeah, that's fantastic. We're gonna get to the Arsenal bottling. We're gonna get there. But yeah, in the first set, that was one of the best displays of tennis I've ever seen in my entire life. Karen Khachanov had shot of the tournament. Go back and watch the highlights. You'll know exactly which one I'm talking about. Carlos, I believe, had a drop shot, and then Khachanov sent it right down the line. The only player in the world that could get to that type of ball was Carlos. He flicked it over with another drop shot, and Karen hit it cross court, and it was absolutely exhilarating tennis. And then from there on out, Khachanov ended up taking the first set. Carlos had multiple mistakes. He was missing overheads, super uncharacteristic stuff from him. But in the end, it was Khachanov who benefited from all of it, and he was locked in that first set. There were lobs, there were drop shots, aces in that first set. It was something to behold. But when players like Carlos and Yannick lose that first set, well, I guess Carlos in this case, we'll get to Yannick in a little bit, they then skip. They turn up a gear in their head. They recognize my back is against the wall, and they just find this inner beast. And from there on out, Carlos played with that inner beast. He was just too fast. The dude never gets tired. After the match, Karen Khachanov even said to him, he's like, "Do you ever get tired?" And Carlos jokingly said, "Eventually," or something like that. It felt like Khachanov gave everything he had in that first set, and then it was just insurmountable from there. Getting that first set was its own little victory in itself, because Carlos obviously then goes on to win it and is into the semifinals. Then we had Jannik Sinner play, and he just looks a little bit off of it right now. Looking at the stats on TNNS, the tennis app, great app, he didn't look that bad in terms of the stats. Mensik was just serving incredibly. Just based on the match alone, Mensik had a 70% first serve percentage land in. That is the highest he's had in his last 25 matches. He's usually average between 55 and 60%. 70% of his first serves were in play. He also saved 5 of 7 break points in the match. But what was interesting was his second serve win percentage was only 36%. Now, I checked Jannik's as well, and that was 65%. So he was just getting the ball in play with that first serve, and he also had 11 aces, which is just an incredible service game from him. You could tell that Jannik was trying to do a bit too much at times, coming to the net, using drop shots, really trying to get that creativity to come out, which is good, and that's what you want to see. It almost felt like he was using the Qatar Open as a sort of live in-game training for these upcoming tournaments, because he was trying stuff that you don't normally see from him, from Sinner. With all that being said, there is some funny parody to come out of yesterday. Last year, Jannik Sinner won the Australian Open, and Carlos Alcaraz lost to Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open, and then lost to Lehečka of Czech Republic in the Doha Qatar Open quarterfinals. This year, 2026, Alcaraz wins the Australian Open. Sinner lost to Djokovic at the Australian Open and lost to Mensik, again, of Czech Republic in Doha, the Qatar Open quarterfinals. Super weird parody there, but just an interesting fact that I saw from Bastian Fakan on Twitter. Now let's move on to the Rio Open. Nothing too crazy. I haven't been watching much of it at all, to be honest. But a little piece of news that Francisco Cerundolo, that just won the Buenos Aires Open, unfortunately had to retire and is out of the Rio Open. But his younger brother, Juan Manuel Cerundolo, is into the quarterfinals, and how exciting would that be if he could get his first ATP title in Brazil? Last night late, Brazilian, one of the favorites, João Fonseca, lost in 3 sets to Ignacio Busse, and his career is just really not turning out to be what we thought it was. He was touted as the next person to potentially be the next big 3 with Carlos and Jannik, but that's just not coming to fruition. And that's okay, because we label these athletes superstars way too early on. What's up, Swift? How we doing? That Djokovic match was crazy. Back and forth from him and Sinner. That was some true old Djokovic tennis, and you know what? Hopefully we get more of that in slams. I don't think he stands a chance in the French Open, but I think Djokovic will stand a better chance on Wimbledon with the faster service, maybe a little more serve and volleys this year, because unfortunately he was a little bit injured towards the end of the tournament last year. But continuing on, we will continue with the Delray Beach Open. We have some tasty quarterfinal matchups down in South Florida. We've got Seb Korda facing off against Casper Ruud. We've got Coleman Wong versus Flavio Caboli. Lerner Tien versus Francis Tiafoe. And best friends Tommy Paul and Taylor Fritz, who won a medal together at the 2024 Summer Olympics in France, will be facing off against each other. That should be quite a match. I do like Fritz to go on and win that one, though. Some great tennis this weekend. I cannot wait for it on the ATP side. And Alcaraz is probably going to go ahead and get his second title of the year. We'll now move on to the Dubai Open, which is actually live right now. Jess Pegula and Amanda Anisimova. We have 3 Americans in the semifinals for the women's tournament. Coco Gauff, who looked down and out the other day when Elise Mertens was just taking control of that match, and Coco had 4 double faults back to back to back to back, which is incredible that she ended up winning that match. Flipped a light switch yesterday, won in straight sets against Alexandra Ayala, bageled her in the first set 6-0, and then won in the second set 6-2. Yeah, USA is looking absolutely incredible. We love to see that from the Americans. Got the phone alarms going off now. My old phone. Still trying to get calibrated with this new phone. Amanda Anisimova defeated Mira Andreeva 2-6, 7-5, 7-6. Jess Pegula, who is now playing, defeated Clara Towson 6-3, 2-6, 6-4. Ben Shelton beating Fritz at the Dallas Open was awesome. I mean, Ben Shelton, that was his 5th title, I believe. His first of 2026. His first since last year's Montreal Open, if I'm not mistaken. Super happy for him. He deserves it. I think he's going to have a big year this year. I think we can expect great things from him. Who knows? Maybe he's even the first one not named Sinner or Alcaraz to get a Grand Slam this year. I have high hopes for him. As long as he can keep that backhand in check and consistent, then I really like what he's got. Back to the Dubai Open, though, we also have Alina Svitolina defeating Antonio Ruzic 3-6, 6-2, 6-3, setting up semifinal matchups between Jess Pegula, Amanda Anisimova, and Alina Svitolina and Coco Gauff. Quick check-in live. We have Anisimova on serve. First game, 15-15. Things are just getting started in Dubai. This should be an incredible match. But that wraps up everything tennis. Now let's move on to a bit of footy. We had Champions League this week, and these matches were absolutely incredible. If you go back to my live show from Monday, I did prediction on these, and I was actually 6 for 8 on my predictions. Would have been 7 for 8 if Atletico Madrid just held on and didn't give up that stoppage time goal to Bruges. But we have Galatasaray beating Juve 5-2, absolutely thrashed them. Madrid beat Benfica 1-0. PSG 3, Monaco 2. Little inter-country rivalry there. Dortmund won 2-0 against Atalanta. Newcastle absolutely mogged Karabag 6-1. I checked the score in the first half and it was 5-0. Just no contest. Super tough for Karabag FK. Great draw for Newcastle. Incredible draw for them. I don't see how they can't just play their third string in this next match and still go through. Bodo Glimt 3, Inter 1. Now, I knew Bodo Glimt was going to win this game at home. Some people doubted me. Some of my friends doubted me. Some people in this live chat doubted me, saying that it's Inter, it's the Champions League, come on. Bodo Glimt at home this season have beaten Atletico Madrid, Manchester City, and now Inter Milan. And they're not even in season right now. Their season doesn't start back up until March because it's too cold there and it snows too much. The league isn't going on. This is their downtime. And yet they're still pulling out Champions League results. Absolutely incredible from Bodo Glimt. Love to see it. Then, obviously, Club Brugge and Atletico draw 3-3. And that was just very poor from Atletico. You had the game wrapped up. Simeone is so drilled in on having his players play lockdown defense. And they give up that stoppage time goal. And they draw 3-3. And now it goes back to the Wander Metropolitano all square because away goals are useless now. Then Leverkusen beat Olympiacos 2-0, rounding out the final Champions League games for this week. An incredible bit of Champions League, super quality football. Very excited for the next round of games. Now, the moment that I know some of the chat has been waiting for, Arsenal to Wolverhampton Wanderers, the Wolves 2. Have Arsenal bottled this league? That game is going to have serious ramifications on the result of the title. Teams are within striking distance. Manchester City, if they win their game in hand, are 2 points back. Aston Villa, if they win their game in hand, I believe they're 5 points back. Shit, I mean, even Manchester United, if they win their game in hand, they're 10 points back. Anything can happen right now. Manchester United are not going to compete for the league. But it is crazy they could only be 10 points back if they win their game in hand. That shows you how poor this title charge has been from Arsenal. That this undespicably bad Manchester United team could only be 10 points off the title coming this Monday if they beat Everton with a game in hand, if they won that game in hand. You have Arsenal scoring early. Saka scored in the first minute. You expect them to go on and control the game. You would hope that title winners scoring in the 5th minute against one of the worst Premier League sides in history, a team that is 100% going down, almost confirmed mathematically, that you score early and then you start controlling the game. You draw them out of their low block and then you just go and score 3 or 4 goals. And that didn't happen. Because it almost feels like when Arsenal score a goal, they take their foot off the pedal. They just kind of like to coast until eventually there's enough pressure and then they concede. It's been happening a lot over these past 7 games. It is embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing from Arsenal. Hincapié then scores in the 56th minute, and Arsenal fans are like, all right, 2-goal lead. This should be easy to close out, but they got hit with the Wombo combo of a 2-goal lead is the hardest lead to defend in football, and the next 5. I always preach this. First 5 minutes of the game, you have to be locked in. The last 5 minutes of the game, you have to be locked in. That is when the other team is trying their hardest to score the goal. And the next 5 minutes after you score, you also have to be locked in with your defensive responsibilities. How often do we see teams scoring in rapid succession after a team scores a goal? Well, it happened with Wolves. Bueno scored in the 61st minute, and suddenly we have a game on our hands. Suddenly, Arsenal start trembling. Suddenly, we see fake injuries, fake concussion protocols from Trossard. We have Gabriel going down, even though he clearly wasn't even hit on the head. Just loser tactics from Arsenal. The only player that I respected from that match on that pitch wearing an Arsenal kit was Declan Rice, because he knows that when you go down and you try to waste that time, that it's just getting added on. It's getting added on to the clock, even if the ref calls for 3 minutes of extra time. Okay? Say for 8 minutes of added time. And you go down and fake a head injury, and you're rolling around on the ground for like 3 minutes. The game isn't going to be finished in the 98th minute. He's not going to blow that whistle. He's going to go to the 101st minute because he's adding on that time that you're wasting. And these players just keep doing it. And you're extending the period in which the other team will score. It's embarrassing. Yeah, Declan Rice is the only player that I truly do respect. And I saw something funny on Twitter the other day. It was the video of him back on West Ham when they won the Europa Conference League in 2022, I believe. And someone said when he got the transfer to Arsenal that was going to be the last trophy that we saw him lift. And shit, is it going to come true? Is that going to be the last trophy that Declan Rice lifts, at least for the next couple of years? I mean, yes, Arsenal are deep into every competition right now, but they look like they might bottle the league. Champions League, anything can happen. They're in the final against the City in the Carabao Cup. I like City's odds there. The FA Cup is still relatively early. There's no guarantee. And especially with the mentality that these Arsenal players have, I don't know if it's Arteta drilling in this kind of weak mentality of trying to scam wins, or if it's someone else at the club. If it is it a top-down thing? Is it just nerves on the players because they've bottled it in recent years? Is that starting to settle in with them? I don't know what it is, but it just seems like instead of trying to go win the title, they're trying not to lose the title, which is not how you win trophies. That's not how the great teams of past won trophies. That's not how Arsenal used to win titles. Continuing back to the Wolves game, after Arsenal try wasting time with these nonsense head injuries, we have Martinelli going up to Wolves fans in the corner and giving them the 2-1 signal with his fingers. Now, all these Wolves fans are just chatting shit, chanting at him, rightfully so, because go worry about defending your goal. Also, Martinelli, you're abysmal. You missed an absolute sitter in that Wolves game. You are not a good winger. Arsenal should have moved on from you last year, yet they refused to buy a left winger. If Arsenal had got a left winger this previous transfer window, instead of signing Gyökeres and just stuck with Kai Havertz until Gabriel Jesus came back, I am telling you they would have a minimum 9 more points. The left wing is such a problem for Arsenal. Trossard's not bad, but that's not who you want on a title-winning side. And it's definitely not Martinelli. He doesn't have the goods of an elite player. After he goes and puts the 2-1 fingers up, Wolves just start bringing on the pressure. Trossard goes off because of a fake concussion, and on comes Calafiori. And in that moment, you just think, all right, it's squeaky bum time for Arsenal. They're going to sit very deep. They're going to try to counter. And next thing you know, with all that pressure, a ball's whipped in. Raya has an absolute moment of just shitting down his leg. That's the only way to describe it. He just shits down his leg. Yeah, Martinelli is absolutely terrible. Yeah. I'll talk about Gyökeres in a second because I have so much to say about him. The stats are not on his side. He is just not the striker that Arsenal thought they were going to sign. But real quick, Raya comes out to claim a high ball that he has no business coming out for. As a goalkeeper, there is no one within a 5-yard radius of Gabriel. Let your center back clear the ball. Just let him head it out. I know you want to come and claim it as a goalkeeper. Just let him head it out. The communication was clearly not there. It was very poor from Raya. The ball falls to, I forget who on Wolves, but I'm pretty sure it was his first goal for the club. He strikes it, hits Calafiori off the line, goes off the post, off Calafiori again, 2-2. Arsenal have left it too late. They don't have enough time to get the winner. And then it's a 2-2 draw. And everyone is clowning Arsenal online, rightfully so. Now, talking more about Sesko, he is an embarrassment to the striker position for Premier League. This dude is slower than my 101-year-old deceased grandmother. He cannot do anything on the ball. It is embarrassing. He is not getting the service that I think he needs personally. I think Arsenal should be whipping the ball into him more because that's the kind of goal scorer he is. He gets in the 6-yard box. But he's going out wide and trying to dribble. And watching him dribble the ball makes my head hurt. He's just a donkey. I still don't know why Arsenal ended up signing him. I thought a left winger was much more of a priority. But let's move on to this weekend. Because this weekend, I think, is potentially where the title is decided. Because if Arsenal go ahead and lose this weekend, that would be bad news for them. Let's start with Villa, though. Villa hosts Leeds at Villa Park. I think this is a 2-1 win for Villa. I think Villa will start to climb back up the table and find themselves in a title race. I don't see why not. They might start getting players back from injury. I'm not sure about Tielemans and McGinn and Kamara. I'm not sure their timeline when they're coming back, but if they get those players back, only 5 points off, if they win this weekend, listen, crazier things have happened. Brentford welcome Brighton into London. I think Brentford control this game and give me 2-0 win for the Bees. Chelsea play host to Burnley. Burnley with a magnificent win against Palace last weekend or 2 weeks ago. I think Chelsea are just in too good a form right now to lose to a relegation side like Burnley, especially at home. Give me Chelsea 4-2. Bournemouth travels to London as well as they face West Ham. West Ham are such a weird team right now because they're in the relegation zone and they look to be going down, yet for some reason, some of their players are striking hot form. Somerville right now looks unplayable. He looks unplayable. He looks absolutely incredible. I think this game is a 1-1 draw written all over it. Big match Saturday. City hosts Newcastle. This is a huge game for City. It's also a huge game for Newcastle because Newcastle need these points bad. Really bad. They're sitting in what? 11th right now? 10th maybe? Something like that. I'm not positive. But if City win this game, they will go 2 points off of Arsenal. And that is just putting heaps of pressure on the Gooners. Not the Gunners, the Gooners. Because that's all that fan base does, even though that the title keeps slipping out of their fingers. They just goon and goon and goon. City win that game 3-2 at the Etihad. That's what's going to happen this weekend. City are going to get a great result, and I'm excited. I think we're going to have a real title race on our hands this year. I thought Arsenal were going to run away with it just a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago, I should say. But when you only pick up 10 points out of a possible 21 in your last 7 games, things are going to slip. It's slipping through their fingers right now. Anna Frey is actually decent at tennis. Speaking quickly on Anna Frey, the sports books are placing her odds astronomically poorly. Twitter has been riding the Anna Frey money line, and it has been producing. She actually looks pretty decent, too. Brock Purdy 2.0 is looking to be a star tennis player, so good for her. She plays in the quarterfinals today, I believe, so I'm curious to see what happens in that match. I think she's playing a top 200 WTA player, or she just beat a top 200 WTA player. I'm not positive, but anyway, great for her. Pretty hilarious. Got famous for looking like Brock Purdy and actually turns out to be a pretty decent tennis player. Speaking of tennis, Amanda Anisimova is up 3-1 right now. She broke Jess Pegula early and has advantage right now. Looks to be going up 4-1. Anisimova looks like she is all in control in set 1. Good for her. Back to the preview. Palace welcome Wolves this weekend. And after that result for Wolves, they're riding high. I think Palace take this one. Give me 2-1 Palace. Liverpool visit Forest. And I think Forest get a result here. I'm going to say 2-1 Forest. I think Liverpool's form is going to hold them back. I think Forest is a tough place to go. You saw Arsenal draw there recently. Give me Forest to get a good result here. Sunderland host Fulham 2-0. Give me Sunderland to win 2-0. Then we have the North London derby. Arsenal versus Tottenham. And this might be one of the funniest London derbies in recent memory, because you have, on one side of the spectrum, Arsenal challenging for the title, and then on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have Tottenham, who are in a relegation fight. Check out my video on Tottenham if you haven't already. I outline the problems that they're having and how they've gone from Big Six to the relegation zone. And Tottenham need this one. They've got their backs up against the walls. But give me Arsenal 3-1 to get back on track. I think this Tottenham team is just way too disjointed. They drop their heads when someone makes a bad pass. We saw it in the last match. Conor Gallagher tried playing a through ball to, I believe, Xavi Simons. The pass got intercepted, and you see 3 Tottenham players in that exact moment put their hands up in the air like this, as to say, like, oh my gosh, what a terrible pass. That is not conducive to a winning team. That is why you're in the relegation zone. Embarrassing stuff from Tottenham. I like Arsenal to win 3-1, get back on track in their title aspirations. Final match of the weekend, we have United going to Merseyside to face Everton. If Everton sit back and play deep, this is going to be a tough game. But because we're going to Everton, I don't think they will. I think they might try to be on the front foot. I think United will go counterattacking, and I think United will take that one 2-1 to also get back on track after their draw against West Ham. That would be 6 wins and 7 for United, which would be fantastic. The Italian women's curling team. Yeah, no, great athletes. That's all we got to say about them. Just fantastic athletes. Curling has been absolutely electric at this Olympics. There's been controversy. There's been incredible shot making. Curling, who knew it could be such an electric sport? But that's really all I have for this live show. Appreciate everyone that's joined in. We've got some incredible Premier League matches this weekend. We've got Champions League Round 2 coming up soon. We've got Dubai Open semifinals live right now. Amanda Anisimova did take that fifth game to take a 4-1 lead in the set. We've got some incredible matchups in the Rio Open, the Delray Open, and of course, Carlos Alcaraz on center court later today. I believe at 12:40. But I'll have to double check on that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Leave a like, subscribe, share the video, and have a great weekend.